As a health behavior change and reinforcement tool, cyber psychology and social media, and cyber psychological behavior and social media and identity. Social media can also function as a supportive system for adolescents' health because by using social media, adolescents are able to mobilize around health issues that they themselves deem relevant. For example, in a clinical study among adolescent patients undergoing treatment for obesity, the participants expressed that through social media they could find personalized weight loss content as well as social support among other adolescents with obesity. While social media can provide such information, there are a considerable amount of uniformity and incorrect sources which promotes unhealthy and dangerous methods of weight loss. As stated by the National Eating Disorder Association, there is a high correlation between weight loss content and disorderly eating among women who have been influenced by this negative content. Therefore, there is a need for people to evaluate and identify reliable health information competencies, commonly known as health literacy. This has led to efforts for governments and public health organizations to use social media to interact with users to limited access. Other social media such as pro-anorexia sites have been found in studies to cause significant risk of harm by reinforcing negative health-related behaviors through social networking, especially in adolescents. Social media affects the way a person views themselves. The constant comparison to edited photos of other individuals and their living situations can cause many negative emotions. This can lead to no eating and isolation. More people continue to use social media for wrong reasons, it increases the feeling of loneliness in adults. During the coronavirus pandemic, the spread of information throughout social media regarding treatment against the virus has also influenced different health behaviors. For example, people who use more social media and believe more in conspiracy theory in social media during the COVID-19 pandemic had worse mental health and is predictive of their compliance to health behaviors such as hand washing during the pandemic. Social media platforms can serve as a breed ground for addiction-related behaviors, with studies showing that excessive use can lead to the development of addiction-like symptoms. These symptoms include compulsive checking, mood modification, and withdrawal when not using social media, which can result in decreased face-to-face social interaction and contribute to the deterioration of interpersonal relations and a sense of loneliness. For example, adolescents who rely heavily on social media for health information and support may be more prone to this addiction-like behavior. In a clinical study among adolescent patients undergoing treatment for obesity, participants expressed that they could find personalized weight loss content and social support among other adolescents with obesity through social media. However, social media also hosts a considerable amount of uninformed and incorrect sources promoting unhealthy and dangerous methods of weight loss. The National Eating Disorder Association states that there is a high correlation between weight loss content on social media and disorder eating among women influenced by this negative content. Effects on individual and collective memory. News media and television journalism have been a key feature in the shaping of American collective memory for much of the 20th century. Indeed, since the colonial era of the United States, news have influenced collective memory and disclosure about national development and trauma. In many years, mainstream journalists have maintained an authoritative voice as the storytellers of the American past. Their documentary style narrative, detailed exposes and their positions in the present make them prime source for public memory. Specifically, news media journalism have shaped collective memory on nearly every major national event, from the death of social and political figure to the progression of political hope. For journalists provide elaborate description of commemorative events in U.S. history and contemporary popular culture sensations. Many Americans learn the significance of historical events and political issues through news media as they are presented on popular news institutions. However, journalistic influence has grown less important, whereas social networking sites such as Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter provide a constant supply of interactive news sources for users. As social media networking becoming more popular among older and younger generations, sites such as Facebook and YouTube gradually undermine the traditional authoritative voices of news media. For example, American citizens contest media coverage of various social and political events as they see fit, inserting their voice into the narrative about Americans' past and present and shaping their own collective memories. An example of this is the public exposure of the Trayvon Martin shooting in Sanford, Florida. News media coverage of the incident was minimal until social media users made their story recognizable through their constant discussion of the case. Approximately 1 month after Martin's death, its online coverage by everyday American garnered national attention from mainstream media. Journalists in turn exemplify media activism. Negative interpersonal interaction or cyberbullying. Social media use sometimes involves negative interaction between users. Angry or emotional conversations can lead to real-world interactions, which can get users in dangerous situations. Some users have experienced threats of violence online and have feared these threats manifesting themselves offline. Related issues including cyberbullying, online harassment, and trolling. According to cyberbullying statistics from the iSafe Foundation, over half of adolescents and teens have been bullied online, and about the same number have engaged in cyberbullying. Both the bullying and the victim are negatively affected, and the intensity, duration, and frequency of the bullying are the three aspects that increase the negative effects on both of them. Social comparison. One phenomenon that is commonly studied with social media is the issue of social comparison. People compare their own lives to the lives of their friends through their friends' posts because people are motivated to portray themselves in a way that is appropriate to the situation and serves their best interests. Often, the things posted online are the positive aspects of people's life, making other people question why their own lives are not as exciting or fulfilling. One study in 2017 found that problematic social media use, that's to say feeling addicted to social media, was related to the lower life satisfaction and self-esteem scores. The authors speculate that users may feel if their life is not exciting enough to put online, it is not as good as their friends or family. Studies have shown that self-comparison on social media can have their effects on physical and mental health because they give us the ability to seek approval and compare ourselves. In the study, women reported that social media are the most influential source of their body image satisfaction, while men reported them as the second most impacting factor. Social media has allowed the people to be constantly surrounded and aware of celebrity images and influencers who hold strong online presence with the number of followers they have. This constant online presence has meant that people are far more aware of what others look like, as such a body comparison have become an issue as people are far more aware of what the desired body type is. A study produced by King University showed that 87% of women and 65% of men compared themselves to images found on the social media. Their efforts to combat these negative effects, such as the use of tags, Instagram hashtag versus the reality and hashtag Instagram versus real life, that have been used to promote body positivity. In a related study, women aged 18 to 30 were shown posts using this hashtag that contain side-by-side images of women in the same clothes and settings, but one image was enhanced for Instagram, while the other was an edited, realistic version. Women who participated in this experiment noted a decrease in body dissatisfaction. Sleep disturbance. According to the study released in 2017 by research from the University of Pittsburgh, the link between sleep disturbance and the use of social media was clear. It concluded that blue light had a part to play and how often they log on, rather than time spent on social media sites, was a high predictor of disturbed sleep, suggesting an obsessive check. The long relationship of social media use and sleep disturbance has significant critical ramifications for young adult health and well-being. In a recent study, we have learned that people in the highest quartile for social media use per week report the most sleep disturbance. The median number of minutes of social media use per day is 61 minutes. Lastly, we have learned that females are more inclined to experience higher levels of sleep disturbance than males. Many teenagers suffer from sleep deprivation as they spend long hours at night on their phones, and this in turn could affect grades as they will be tired and unfocused in school. In a study from 2011, it was found that time spent on Facebook has a strong negative relation with overall GPA, but it was unclear if this was related to sleep disturbance. Since blue light has increasingly become an issue, smartphone developers have added a night mode feature that does not cause as much strain to the eyes as a blue light would. Emotional effects, social media and suicide. One studied emotional effects on social media is Facebook depression, which is a type of depression that affects adolescents who spend too much of their free time engaging with social media sites. This may lead to the problems such as recursiveness, which can negatively damage one's health by creating feelings of loneliness and low self-esteem among young people. Using a phone to look at social media before bed has become a popular trend among teenagers, and this has led to a lack of sleep and inability to stay awake during school. Social media applications curate content that encourages users to keep scrolling to the point where they lose track of time. There are studies that show child's self-esteem is positively affected by positive comments on social media and negatively affected self-esteem by negative comments. This affects the way the people look at themselves on a worthiness scale. A 2017 study of almost 6,000 adolescent students showed that those who self-reported addiction-like symptoms of social media use were more likely to report low self-esteem and high levels of depressive symptoms. From the findings on the population-based study, there is about 7% increase in the likelihood of major depression among adolescents. In a different study conducted in 2007, those who used the most multiple social media platforms, 7 to 11, had more than 3 times the risk of depression and anxiety than people who use the fewest, 0 to 2. A second emotional effect is social media burnout, which is defined by Boham as ambivalence, emotional exhaustion, and depersonalization. Ambivalence refers to a user's confusion about the benefits she can get from using a social media site. Emotional exhaustion refers to the stress a user has when using a social media site. Depersonalization refers to the emotional detachment from a social media site a user experiences. The three burnout factors can all negatively influence the user's social media continuance. This study provides an instrument to measure the burnout a user can experience when his or her social media friends are generating an overwhelming amount of useless information, e.g., what I had for dinner, where I am now. A third emotional effect is the fear of missing out, FOMO, which is defined as the pervasive apprehension that others might be having rewarding experiences from which one is absent. FOMO have been classified by some as a form of social anxiety. It is associated with checking updates on friends' activity on social media. Some speculate that checking updates on friends' activities on social media may be associated with negative influence on people's psychological health and well-being because it could contribute to negative mood and depressed feelings. Looking at friends' story or post of them attending parties, musical festivals, vacations, and other events on various social media applications can lead users to feel left out and upset because they are not having as much fun as others. This is a very common issue between young people using certain apps, and it continues to affect their personal well-being. On the other hand, social media can sometimes have supportive effects on individuals who use it. Twitter have been used more by the medical communities. While Twitter can facilitate academic discussion among health professional students, it can also provide the supportive community for these individuals for fostering a sense of community and allowing individuals to support each other through tweets, likes, and comments. Thank you very much, and see you in the upcoming video.